Okay, I'm going to speed run through the last portion of my notes from the What's the Plan meeting from Indivisible from August 21st. I feel like Ezra and Leah, if you take their two perspectives and smash them together, you kind of get my take on most issues. I really, really appreciate their leadership and I appreciate their balance. And there's a whole lot more that I could say, but I specifically want to focus on what Ezra said toward the end of the call, because there's a couple of issues that weave together, and they are topics that have been on my mind as well as apparently Ezra's. In particular, I want to focus on the future of the Democratic Party. Now, a lot of folks know that I end up voting Democratic more often than not, even though as an anti-capitalist, I'm very frustrated with neoliberals in the party. I'm very frustrated with how much corporate and foreign interest runs the leadership of the Democratic Party. Locally, I often vote Working Families or DSA. But on a national level, right, like I either have a Republican or a Democrat on the ticket. I'm constantly engaged in harm reduction voting. I'm constantly picking a compromise candidate. I think that's true for any of us who are adults in the room, any of us who understand our civic duty as an American citizen when we are casting a vote. I'm very, very frustrated with the lack of tenacity, with the weakness, the flaccidity of the Democratic Party. I mean, it's weird how limp Democratic leadership is in the moment when it comes to standing up against fascists, but not when it comes to quashing progressives in the party. It's also weird how they're vote blue no matter who, unless it comes to endorsing the Democratic nominee for mayor in New York, Zoran Mamdani. Then we see what Kirsten Gillibrand and Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer all refuse to vote blue no matter, all refuse to get behind the Democratic candidate. And right, that kind of leads me into what Ezra was talking about. As we are moving into the primaries, we have to think about what kind of Democratic Party do we want? Do we want fighters? Do we want people who will stand up for the American people, who will stand up for the rule of law against the oligarchy, against corruption, against fascism? Do we have people who are ready to meet the moment? I posted a video, was it yesterday, of Congressman Maxwell Frost. There are so many young, dynamic, energetic folks in the Democratic Party who understand the assignment and are willing to do the work. And it's leadership who is failing. Ezra made the point of the folks who got us into this will not get us out of this. Democratic leadership that failed to get accountability for what Trump did under his first term, the extreme corruption, the insurrection on January 6th, the timidity, the passivity, the inability to get justice for the American people. That group of folks who got us into this mess we're in now, they are not the folks who are going to dig us out of it. Ezra said, it's time to get rid of Democratic leadership. And I said in my notes, how do we get rid of Chuck Schumer? Indivisible, months ago, I think it was 91% of Indivisible chapters voted that we want Chuck Schumer out. Y'all, he has an approval rating in the teens. He has repeatedly failed the American people, and we can get him out. I still think there should have been, and there could be going forward, a comprehensive, organized movement to pressure Democratic senators to boot Chuck Schumer out of leadership. We don't have to wait till the midterms. It just requires enough Democratic senators writing a letter saying we call for a new vote, then they vote in a new leader. It does not have to be Chuck Schumer. I've called my senators multiple times and asked them for that, but I think it would require a really organized pressure campaign from an awful lot of us, because Chuck Schumer has a lot of power. He's got a lot of influence because he's backed by a lot of money. And I completely agree with Ezra. Now is the time that we demand a better party. We must demand that the Democrats make themselves into an anti-corruption party. Primary season, it's already here, y'all. We need all hands on deck. We are seeing every day more folks throw their name in the hat and say, okay, I'm willing to run against this establishment corporate Democrat. I'm willing to run in the primary. So who are going to be the new leaders of this party? Is this what we want leading us into this fight, the Democratic Party that we have now? Do you think that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer have been equipped for this moment in time? Do you think they've been doing a good job? Because I sure don't. I think they're doing all of the wrong things. They are falsely putting their hope in like the midterms will fix this and it will just be business as usual. We need people to go to run for something, to run for office. We need each and every one of us to be supporting progressive candidates in the primaries with our dollars and with our volunteer hours. We need a massive get out the vote movement, because I agree with Ezra. I'm very worried about the general election in the midterms if it looks like a corrupt corporate establishment Democrat versus a corrupt fascist Republican. That's not going to inspire people to get out and vote. If you want to overcome the current cynicism that the American people have when it comes to our politics, you have to have candidates that inspire them. Look at Zoran Mamdani, inspiring young voters, inspiring an awful lot of people to turn out, getting people excited, not only about like politics, but about the future of this country, what kind of America we could build. And yet we have establishment Democratic leadership who can't even say that they endorse him. They cannot even lend their support to their colleague who is the Democratic nominee because he's too progressive for them, because he supports a lot of the things that are in opposition to the things that will benefit their big donors. I'm trying to word this carefully because my videos keep getting strikes, but you know what I mean. Ezra went on to expand this and talk about DC statehood, which is something that I've supported, a lot of progressives have supported for a long time. Washington, DC needs representation. Ezra said it should be part of the Democrats' platform for the midterms, that DC should get statehood and there should be self-determination for Puerto Rico. The GOP has opposed DC statehood for one reason, y'all. It would mean 2 likely Black Democratic senators and 1 likely Black Democratic representative. DC is a progressive city with a very motivated Black population that deserves representation. And the Republicans, they don't want more progressives. They don't want their power diluted. They definitely don't want more Black people in Congress. I mean, we should be 0% shocked that the Republican motivation is always going to come down to racism. Leah went on to add that too many Democrats right now are staying silent on what is happening in Washington, D.C. They are also staying very silent about what ICE is doing around the country. They've had their focus groups and their polling say like, shh, just be quiet on this and talk about the economy. Focus on the devastating things that Trump is doing to the economy. Leah said fundamentally, too many Democrats are not pushing back on the authoritarian overreach of Trump, and they're just focused on the economy. They think that that is a winning strategy for them. She said, no, it's not. And I agree with Leah and Ezra. Standing on the right side morally is never going to be a losing position. Ultimately, it will never be a losing position to take the right. Politically, both of these issues are winners. Standing up against ICE, standing up for DC statehood. So she was saying, call your representative and demand that they do something about Washington, D.C. Can't get statehood right now, but D.C. doesn't have any representation, so we need our Democratic electeds to stand up for the folks in Washington, D.C. If your representative has been silent on D.C., you need to get on the horn. Tell them, what are you doing? Why are we not supporting our fellow citizens in D.C.? Why are you not speaking out against this? Tell them that they need to sign on to Jamie Raskin's legislation. Tell them that if they don't make it very clear that they are an ally with Washington, D.C., that, maybe they'll get primaried. I wrote in all caps in my notes, too many Democrats do not take a stand where it is crucial right now that they must do so. I have been saying for months, maybe we need a Tea Party for the Democratic Party. Ezra really drove home the point that we can't have an opposition party to fascism that only has an approval rating in the 20s. Democrats are fooling themselves if they think that the midterms are going to be a slam dunk. Right, a generic ballot showed Democrats up +8. I know a lot of people were excited about that, but I was like, how is it only +8? With all that's going on right now, how is it Democrats are only up +8 in a generic ballot? Like that should not be something we're excited about. Ezra said, we need a party that people want to register to vote for. We need a party that people will be willing to canvass for, to support. We need a party that will get people to turn out on election day. We need an opposition party that will stand in defense of the American people and will respond to a would-be dictator trying to wreck this country. Too many people right now believe that all parties are corrupt and that politics doesn't work and that both parties are the same. We have to give people something to believe in. We have to give them new leaders who will lead the charge, who can make the arguments that will help people get inspired to register to vote and to turn out to vote. We all need to be engaged in the primaries. We all have to work right now to build a party that we all want to show up for. That will be the party that can win in 2026 and 2028. We are not guaranteed a win right now. We can't say we're going to do more of the same old and hope that you'll vote for us because Trump really sucks. No, we need a vision for what we want America to become. We need political leaders who will help bring about that vision. We need more Zoran Mamdanis. We need a Tea Party takeover of the establishment Democrats. We need to create a party that is of, by, and for the people. We need a party for the working class. We need an anti-corruption party. So what can we do? What can we do starting right now to bring that about?